Talking about that, you got the cross on your forearm, and this is from the Psalms, chapter 14 to 29?
Yes.
Yeah.
After I got divorced, I was looking for another relationship. And I wasn't following the correct path. I made some bad decisions and got into some things that were bad. Ended up getting, incarcerated. And I was reading the Bible a lot when I was in. And the ironic thing, I met a gentleman down there that was a Muslim. That was kind of strange that I had to confess my sins when I was 8 years old. I always thought that was strange, and then to confess to another human, another mortal, which you go inside the confessional box and he asks you what you've done, when's the last time you had your confession, when this and that, and being 8 years old, I'm thinking, man, I haven't really even done anything really that wrong that I, as an 8-year-old boy. And then they tell you, do this, do that, and do 10 Hail Marys, whatever. And that's like you said, that was like the first red flag for me. When I moved to Florida in 1983, I was introduced to a public school system, and it was much easier for me. About 6 years ago, I got into I got divorced from my first wife. After I got divorced, I was looking for another relationship. And I wasn't following the correct path. I made some bad decisions. I got in a relationship with a woman and got into some things that were bad. Ended up getting, incarcerated in South Florida. When I was in God, that's when I really got a reality check. God put me in that place for a reason, and I was reading the Bible a lot. I actually got this when I was in Pompano Beach, incarcerated.
On your forearm, and this is from the Psalms, chapter 14 to 29?
Yes, yes. Psalms 14:29, slow to wrath, slow to get angry. That's when I really got, in touch with a higher power, and it was always God to me. It was always one God. When I was in there, and the ironic thing about it was, I met a gentleman down there that was a Muslim. He had the Quran, and he showed me it. He's like, "You ever heard of the Quran?" I said, "Yeah, I've heard of it, but So I read part of it when I was in there, but it was just like a passing. But I found it very interesting. A couple of years, about 11 months. I served like 11 months, and then I got out. I did some traveling to find work and to get away from people I needed to get away from. Eventually got into a non-denominational church.
Yeah.
And then from there, I met a woman in my apartment building. I introduced her to I said, "Hey, do you want to go to my church? It's not a non-denominational church." And she's like, "Yeah, would you like to go to my masjid?" And I was like, "Masjid?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm a Muslim." The gentleman that I was incarcerated with, and I said, "Yeah, I'm a little familiar with the Quran and this and that." And so she went to my church. I went to her masjid. From there, I went there, and I was just like, wow. Like I had gone to the I forgot what they had called it. They had like a Sunday, like a Bible school, for lack of a better term, but it was on the Quran. They explained the Quran. We read out of the Quran. We like eight or so of us, 10 or so of us, and the imam would go over, what each ayat meant, and it was very interesting. And I thought, wow, this all makes sense. It didn't take long. After that, I converted. It was 2 years ago, January 1st. So it was January 1st, 2021.